Hey, what's up you guys, the Curious Owl here, and today I will be sharing with you guys the entirety of my June TBR. So I've done 2 TBR videos last week that dictated essentially what I will be reading specifically for the House Cup-a-thon to match challenge prompts, and what I will be reading for the Feel Good-a-thon that will match prompts that there are for that particular read-a-thon. And pretty much all of the books that I had for House Cup-a-thon matched books for the Feel Good-a-thon, which was great because Feel Good-a-thon takes place over the first 2 weeks of June, and then the House Cup-a-thon goes over the course of the entire month. So what I will be doing today is going through all of the books I will be reading in the month of June, which includes my library lottery picks, the series that I'm trying to finish up with Dorothy Must Die, random TBRs, things of that nature. But I will go into, with each of the books I have for the specific readathons, what they are counting for in both of them. However, if you've already seen both my House Cup-a-thon and Feel Good-a-thon TBRs and want to skip me talking about all those books, you can go ahead to this point here in the video where I will go into my random TBRs and the books that I kind of will be playing catch up with for the most part. First, we have The Stand by Stephen King. I unfortunately couldn't read Rage, and I have a whole video that will be talking about that coming out later this week, essentially what happened and why I had such an issue with it, but I was unable to pick up Rage for May, and so for June, my next book is The Stand. This is going to be just for House Cup-a-thon, which is to complete the Petrified prompt and the Flying Car prompt. Next, I have Thirst Volume 1 by Christopher Pike. Basically, this is a omnibus of 3 stories. I'm going to read the first one, I think, in terms of the overall book itself, because like I said, there's 3 books in here, and I kind of want to split this up because this is also going to be my next reading series that I will be doing, because Morganville Vampires is getting wrapped up here, and I wanted to go into another series that I have been invested in high school and really liked. And this one in particular, this series, the last omnibus I had really confused me in terms of the overall ending of the series, and so I kind of want to reread it to refresh my mind on it and really figure out what exactly had happened. So I will be reading the first book in this omnibus, but this is going to count for both Feel Good-a-thon and the House Cup-a-thon. For the House Cup-a-thon, this is going to count for the prompts of The Burrow and The Howler, and then it is also going to be for my reread prompt for the Feel Good-a-thon. Next, I have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. This is the required reading for the House Cup-a-thon, and this is also going to be counting for the Tom Riddle's Journal prompt. This also for the Feel Good-a-thon is going to count for 3 prompts. It's going to count for a short book, because it's actually one of my shorter books on my TBR, a book that continues or finishes a series, and a book that contains my favorite trope, which is the magic school trope. Next, I have Illuminae by Amie, Kaufman, and Kristoff. This is going to count also for both House Cup-a-thon and Feel Good-a-thon. For the House Cup-a-thon, it will be for my Polyjuice Potion prompt and my Following the Spiders prompt. And for Feel Good-a-thon, this is going to count for 2 things. It's going to count as one of the host favorites, and then this is also going to count for the High Hopes prompt. Next, I have My Enemy's Cradle by Sarah Young. This is also going to be counting for both readathons. This one for the House Cup-a-thon is going to be for the Genome in the Garden prompt and the Death Day Party prompt. And for Feel Good-a-thon, this is going to count for my cover prompt, because trains for some reason on covers always give me really interesting vibes, and I'm always curious to see why there's a train on a cover. I don't know why, it does. Next, I have Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This will also be counting for both House Cup-a-thon and Feel Good-a-thon. This is the last book that overlaps all of them, and this is going to be for House Cup-a-thon, my prompt for Fox, which is to do a second chance read, and this is going to be my buddy read prompt for the Feel Good-a-thon, because I will be reading this actually with one of the hosts, Jess, and I'm really excited because I really want to reread this again after having read it in December of 2019 and get a new perspective on it, because there were some things I don't really remember from it, and I want to see if my thoughts on it now are the same as they were when I read it now about 6 months ago. Okay, so now we're going to go into specifically the books I have for the very particular readathons. So for Feel Good-a-thon, one of the books I am specifically reading for this that completes my TBR for Feel Good-a-thon is Museum of Thieves. This was my May library lottery pick, but this is by Leanne Tanner. and this is going to count for the younger love and the new author prompt. So now to go into some of the books specifically for House Cupathon. The first one I have is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, the third book in the Grisha trilogy. This is going to count for 2 prompts, which are for my Lockhart prompt and my Dobby prompt. Then I have the book Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider, which is going to count for the Whomping Willow prompt. Then I have The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell for the Basilisk prompt. Then I have the audiobook for Tell Me Lies by J.P. Pomer, which is going to count for my Mandrakes prompt since it is an audiobook, and for that prompt we are asking for you to pick an audiobook. Okay, so with all that, now I'm going to go into specifically the other books that I have that are on my TBR that I haven't read as of yet, but like they're random TBRs or continuing finishing series, those kinds of things. So the first one I have is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin. I did start this over the course of May, but I'm going to put it down for right now because it's just 3 short stories. I finished the first short story and I really liked it, and I want to take the time that I need for my other books before getting back to this one, since this one's kind of just a back burner kind of story. Then I have the 3 volumes of short stories of the Dorothy Must Die series by Danielle Page. Again, this is kind of a back burner kind of thing. I'm going to wait to put these ones in my mind until closer to the end of the month, hopefully, because I want to make sure that I get through at least my House Cupathon TBR before the end of the month, before I get through these ones. And then the last thing before I go into my random TBR and library lottery pick for the month is The Aeneid by Virgil. This was my May random TBR book and I just never got around to it, but again, I'm gonna wait to put this one in my mind until later in the month when I finished the rest of my books. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the last part of this video, which is my random TBR pick for the month and my library lottery pick for the month. So first things first, we're gonna do the random TBRs. So let's see what we end up getting this month that I'll have to add on and maybe read in July because I don't know if I'll get to it. All right, so the one we have is First and Then by Emma Mills. I just actually bought this ebook not too long ago, so this one's on my Kindle. All right, so now we'll move on to the library lottery pick for this month. Okay, so as always, we are going to start with the age range for the month. Ooh, another middle grade this month. Okay, that's gonna be fun. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the middle grade genre. So there's only 4 that I have listed here, so let's see which one we end up going with. Ooh, another fantasy. Okay, I'm so down for this. I did not expect to almost get the same result as last month. So let's pick the last name. Another T, are you serious? Maybe I end up going with the second book in the Museum of Thieves series. So that actually ended up working out really perfectly because the first book that came up under middle grade fantasy with author last name T was the second book in this Museum of Thieves series, which is called City of Lies. So I guess I'll be reading a duology. I think it might be only 2 books. I don't know, I'll have to double check on that, but looks like I'm going through another series this month, which is pretty exciting. I do hope I get to that one sometime in June because I would really like to see how much I like that one, considering that I specifically had chosen that one for the Feel Good-a-thon as a younger love story because I think it's a story I really would have loved as a middle grade reader because I was obsessed with fantasy stories, I think, when I had started getting into middle school, and especially with the whole Harry Potter thing that had really picked up when I was in late elementary, early middle school. I think that it's a perfect genre for me, considering I love everything to do with, like, anything, libraries, magic, all that stuff. So because I have a large stack of books here that are on my TBR, I'm not going to pick it up because it's going to be way too heavy. But there you guys go. Those are all the books I will be reading in the month of June. Oh boy, pray for me guys, because it's gonna be a long-winded one. But I am hoping that I can stick to a reading schedule this month because I'm really trying to take better care of myself and actually start getting more involved with my reading. I may just have to read 2-3 books at a time in order to get through all of them, but who knows? So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Ow.